This is Joe Coleman, the new television champion, the super soldier, the genetic jackpot, the Jack Knight, the Tan Lantern, and the master of the universe.
This is the beast of nature, the freak, Rob Terry.
Hi, I'm OVW official Josh Ashcraft.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're looking at Triple Threat Talk. I'm Dean Hill.
This is Ricky Chevy, and I'm the blue-collar millionaire.
I'm Mr. Peck. God, that's great every time. Spectacular.
We're the Broner Brothers.
I am the One Girl Revolution, Taylor Hendricks.
This is Brandon Espinoza.
I'm the Assassin.
I'm Bruno Raul Limata.
I'm James Moose Thomas.
I'm Shiloh Jones.
My name is Ron Head. I'm the announcer for OVW. I'm Jamin Olivencia.
I'm Alex Silva. I'm Rocco Bellagio.
I'm Kerry Bodie, the Ohio Valley Wrestling fan advocate.
Rafael Constantine.
I'm Rand Perez. My name's Muhammad Ali. Baez.
I'm Paradise.
This is Jack Black. This is Ohio Valley Wrestling. Referee Chris Sharp.
This is Sexy Sean Casey. I'm Chris Silvio.
This is Michael Hayes. This is Jason West.
And you're watching Triple Threat Talk.
To episode 86 of the internet sensation Triple Threat Talk. How are you? I'm the Dr. Gary Lockard, joined by my esteemed colleagues, Mr. Jimmy Biggers, the Postmaster Jones, Mr. Big B, Brandon DeMuro, and just Kendra.
I think that's gonna stick now.
You make it sound so dull.
No, I mean,
It's like...
oh, hold on, let me try that again.
It's like...
And just Kendra. There we go.
That was too emphatic.
Oh, you don't even know what the
Try
right
it again.
emphatic
Oh, I know.
is.
Try it again.
One more time. And just Kendra. I like that.
Okay.
Here's Johnny.
Really?
What it sounded like to me. All right, Carson. Here's Johnny. So, interesting week so far. I mean...
Sorry, fellas.
No.
Yeah.
Sorry,
It's
fellas.
alright. I mean, it was a good team. I mean, I've made no bones about the fact I'm a Ravens fan as well. But, you know, 49ers are just number one on my list of 32.
32. 1 to 32.
1 to 32.
No, only Big B has 32 teams in the NFL.
No, 31. He does hate the Steelers as much as I do.
That's right, so he does
I will give him
31 teams for Big B, 32.
Before we get things started, I do want to thank Buck-in-5 for giving us getting a shout out on Cult Moo.
Yeah, the channel Cult Moo. They did some video where they tasted these different items, you know, chocolates and stuff like that, and they did a shout.
Were they drinking True Moon
No, they were not.
chocolate milk?
No, but now they gave a shout out, which was really appreciated. So we appreciate that.
So
very much.
we're re-shouting, as
So
it were.
Shouting back and forth.
Cult Moo, hey, how you?
How are you guys doing? It was an interesting show. I watched it. I mean, they take basically Buck-in-5 sent him a box of stuff.
Box
to
of
eat.
items, yeah.
And you know,
It was all European candy.
yeah. I mean, it was pretty good. It was good stuff. I thought
Buck-in-5 sent you a box.
Mom always
Send us. Where's our box at? Come on.
Send him a box for us. How dare he?
Mom always said.
Mom always said life was like a box of chocolates.
All right, that's enough him hauling around. Postmaster,
Where's the show going?
take it away.
From the Buck-in-5.
Oh,
Shocking.
Speaking of Buck-in-5.
Yes. What do you think are some of the biggest upsets in sports history?
I mean, you've always got one of the biggest upsets I thought was Kentucky and LSU back in the day. LSU had Kentucky down 39 points. 31 points, thank you. And UK came back to win. It was the greatest comeback of all time. UK was not the favorite to win that game, but they came back and they won anyways. For me, that one's always the one that sticks out in my mind when you're talking about upsets. Of course, you know, you've had a string of recent upsets with Butler making it to the championship game in basketball. You see upsets a little bit more in basketball than you do anything else.
Yeah.
And, you know, and every now and then in tennis you see, like, that Sloane Stephens girl.
Yeah, she was injured, but still an upset nonetheless.
Pretty good. So that's pretty much for me. How about you guys?
That happened.
My favorite
yawning, sorry.
upset personally is the Christian Laettner shot because I am a Duke fan. So
I don't think that was an upset because it was, and I appreciate where you're going, but it was the fact that you could get in the championship game. At that point, no one is really an upset at that particular point. But I see where you're going with that. A, you're trying to make me mad, and B,
I think of it as an upset because at the time that he made the shot, they were just like, okay, we're probably gonna win. Like they thought they were gonna win. And that's the thing. Although I was only like 3 or 4, I think I was 4 when the game was going on. Whatever.
God, I feel
it was just.
And we've
like,
actually discussed this in the past, between the three of us.
And I just feel like it was a major upset when I actually went back and watched the footage and got to see the game and got to see the shot. I'm just like,
and you slowly realized that after Christian Laettner stomped on that guy, he should have been ejected from the game, and that shot should never have happened.
That was very, very, very.
It was very vicious.
It was. It's something to be talked about.
It
was just.
But you got the win.
They did.
So
they did.
Kudos to them for cheating. It's good. How about you?
Kudos to cheating. My biggest upset has to be Mike Tyson losing to Buster Douglas. I mean, Mike Tyson, when he's in his prime at the time, and he's the champion. He's facing this guy. Who's Buster Douglas? Who's this guy? Everyone, people bet on boxing. That's one of the things people bet a lot of money on. Somebody's like, put it all on Tyson. He's not going to lose, and he gets knocked out by Buster Douglas. And the referee's like hugging him. It's like, it's okay, dude. You just got knocked out. So that was a huge upset. Yeah. But for me, I mean, like I said, boxing is a very huge sport. People put money on it, and I guarantee a lot of people lost money on that fight because no one picked Buster Douglas. He was a nobody, and then Tyson, obviously one of the best of all time. He just got beat.
I had to look for Shaman I defeating Ralph Sampson's team
Virginia.
in Virginia.
The greatest game I've never shown on TV.
That has to be ranks up there with a big upset. The Patriots winning their first Super Bowl was a big upset.
Yeah, that was pretty big
because they were the greatest show on turf, the St. Louis Rams, and they were, I think, 2 touchdown favorites in that game, and the Patriots won on a last-second Adam Vinatieri field goal. Also from the Buck and 5. Do any of you have any interesting or funny stories or moments from your school days or your job?
I got one from my job. I was at a pharmacy recently. The last, probably actually a few months.
Shocking.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And I had my pharmacy jacket on, so you can tell that the doctor's working in the pharmacy.
The doctor is in.
You could tell the doctor was in. And, I work at a retail store, Kroger's, is where I base my operations out of. And I was walking from the pharmacy to the gentleman's room. And
where's this going?
This is going, I promise.
Okay.
I had to pass the meat department. Okay?
So wait a minute, whoa, gentleman's room, meat department, this is getting bad.
I clearly have my pharmacy jacket on.
Clearly.
Right?
Clearly.
And you keep saying jacket.
Well,
stop it.
I just want to stop it.
Family show, this is no longer.
Okay, so this lady asks me, she says, "Excuse me, sir, do you work here?" And I say, "Yes." And Kroger right there.
Maybe she's blind.
Can you cut my meat for me? So I look at her.
The story's not very family.
I look at her straight in the eye. I said, "I'm sorry, ma'am. They don't let me handle sharp objects." And you will never see a woman's face get so quite so disconcerting in their entire life.
Sounds about right.
It was pretty.
That sounds about a Kroger customer to me.
It was pretty good.
That sounds Kroger customer.
It was pretty good. Oh my God. Anybody else got one?
Not really.
Back around Christmas time, it was this guy who came in the bank. He had this long red hair, and I was taking his transaction, and I asked him, like, is there anything else I can... Well, he was filling out his withdrawal ticket, and I was like, is there any certain way you like your cash back? And he was like, yeah, I'd like 2 20s, and then he just burst out, started singing, "It's the most wonderful time of the year." And my manager was in her office like, what the heck? Like, all the customers in the bank were like... I mean, he could sing really well, but he was in the middle of a sentence and he just burst out. And I don't think he has Tourette syndrome. So.
Are we sure?
So he's happy about getting his money, I guess.
Yeah, now he sings every time he comes in. So.
For a second there, I thought you were going to say, I want a couple 20s and the rest in ones. That's where that story was going.
Big V?
Nothing really that I can think of off the top of my head in the next couple minutes.
Yeah, I can't think of anything either. So
You guys are lame.
moving on.
I think your story was good enough for everybody. So.
From Big Corn 16.
Corn.
What do you guys think of TNA having their weekly show being in a different city each week now?
Copy WWE much? Jerks. I think it's about time though.
Jerks. I'll stick it to them.
I think it's a good move. It's about time. That's what they need to do. They need to get the word about TNA out. They need to move out of the amusement park, and they need to grow their base a little bit more. So I think it was a good move. It's a long time coming.
Yeah. I agree with you to an extent. It's going to be good in the long run, but in the beginning it's going to be rough because there's been, obviously reports that their house shows do terrible. And of course, it's going to be TV taping still, but going out there and trying to book arenas now, WWE is aware of this. They're trying to get the arenas, booked in advance before TNA even does those things. So they're trying to, put the kibosh on that. TNA doing something, but like I said, it's a good move obviously because they want to get their brand out there, and like he was saying, not stuck in Universal Studios every single week when they do TV. But it's gonna be rough in the first couple months. They're not gonna see a lot of people there. It's gonna be really bad numbers because people don't travel to TNA. They just don't want to go. So it's gonna be rough in the beginning.
It's definitely not something that is good, I don't think. I mean, not like he said, not a lot of people go to the house shows. They're reducing the number of pay-per-views that they're going to have throughout the year. I mean...
They're losing money. They're bleeding.
Yeah, I see where they're coming from trying this, but, I mean, there's a reason why they're called TNA, totally not action. I mean, it
doesn't sound right.
I mean, I know, but... I don't look for TNA to be around much longer myself. I give them a year, maybe.
Yeah, especially with that pay-per-view thing when they cut down the 4 pay-per-views.
Yeah, and we all know what happened to the last company that did that. Yep. So, from Dirk Coops.
Dirk the Daring?
Yes, okay. Dirk the Daring. A comment.
Okay.
During halftime, where I was at, the only people watching Beyonce were the women. And they were very critical of her performance. The men, however, didn't watch. They were pissed off at their team. How was it in Louisville?
It was the same. I was at the Super Bowl party, which 2 people here at this table were invited to and didn't show up. but yeah, the same thing was going on in my place during the halftime show. Jerks. We're with TNA. We're both jerks. The same thing happened with at our program at my place though. On the program, the women just stopped and were looking at Beyonce, and I was checking her out a little bit, but that's mainly because what she was wearing was rocking.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, it was pretty much the same thing. The guys were just pretty much talking. I think we were all catching a glance at the TV every now and then. But yeah, the girls at present were definitely just kind of critiquing her performance, and a couple girls made a comment about the way she was walking at the beginning. I mean, it was pretty. Yeah, exactly. It was pretty much like that. So, but yeah, I think it was the same thing.
I was doing dishes at halftime.
Okay.
Just saying. That's what I was doing.
That's kind of funny.
That's all I was doing. Dishes. Huh?
Nothing. How about you guys? You guys notice that? Did you go to the Super Bowl party? I know you didn't.
But I was definitely watching her halftime performance because I expected like a Destiny Child type thing. But I love her, so it's kind of just like I was ready to see her.
Were you critiquing
sing? Not really. I just because I've seen her she can dance and sing at the same time, and I just was just trying to see what she was gonna do basically, and I was hoping that she performed like some of my favorite songs. She did like throwbacks. So I mean, it was cool. I think her routine was good. I think her backup dancers were awesome. Like she never misses a beat, and she has a baby, and she's not young, but she's not old either. But
she's still cute.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gorgeous.
So,
Jay-Z's very lucky man.
Yeah, he's
more ways than one.
Unless, of course, she's singing the Star Spangled Banner for the president, and then she can't sing.
And then she lip syncs.
But did you see the interview where she sang the national anthem?
Yeah, that was kind of a jerk move.
Yeah, but so what? Because she can blow.
She can sing.
And so that was, she said, any questions?
And if people make an excuse for her saying it's cold outside, that's ridiculous.
It's cold.
It's cold outside. You can't sing when it's that cold.
It's cold outside.
How did they even find out? I didn't know that.
A soldier, one of the soldiers there tonight, one of the people that were in the inauguration, they were kind of ratted her out. I like the performance. It wasn't my favorite halftime show, but
Tom Petty.
But yeah, I like Tom. I like you too as well.
No,
Bruce Springsteen 2001. Anyway, we all have our favorites. Anyway,
Stop it.
it's the time of when halftime happens. You're always not going to get the best performance there, but I think what the NFL does, and they do it perfectly, is they get someone who's going to entertain, and she obviously does that. She's one of the best in the world that does that. She entertains. She may not be the favorite, like she might not be like a Tom Petty or a Springsteen or a U2 or whatever, but she goes out there and she entertains the crowd, and that's what happened. And obviously, the Destiny's Child thing was heavily speculated, and it did happen. So it was a good halftime show. Was it the best one? No, but I like I said, I think it was thoroughly entertaining. That's what the job of the halftime performance is supposed to do. Next year, you might not have a halftime that's like that because, like I said, it's outside. It's gonna be really cold in MetLife, so they might have to dial down the halftime show for whoever they decide to put in there. So
I can't believe that. That's one of the things. Yeah. We'll finish up with viewer questions after that. After the break, stay tuned here to Triple Threat Talk.
And on the 8th day, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a caretaker. So God made a farmer. God said, I need somebody willing to get up before dawn, milk cows, work all day in the fields, milk cows again, eat supper, then go to town and stay past midnight at a meeting of the school board. So God made a farmer. God said, I need somebody willing to sit up all night with a newborn colt and watch it die, then dry his eyes and say, maybe next year. I need somebody who can shape an axe handle from a persimmon sprout, shoe a horse with a hunk of car tire, who can make harness out of hay, wire, feed sacks, and shoe scraps, who planting time and harvest season will finish his 40-hour week by Tuesday noon, and then painin' from tractor back put in another 72 hours. So God made a farmer. God said, I need somebody strong enough to clear trees and heave bales, yet gentle enough to yean lambs and wean pigs and tend the pink-combed pullets, who will stop his mower for an hour to splint the broken leg of a meadowlark. So God made a farmer. It had to be somebody who'd plow deep and straight and not cut corners, somebody to seed, weed, feed, breed, and rake and disc and plow and plant and tie the fleece and strain the milk, somebody who'd bale a family together with the soft, strong bonds of sharing, who would laugh and then sigh and then reply with smiling eyes when his son says that he wants to spend his life doing what Dad does. So God made a farmer.
And we're back here on Triple Threat Talk. I am Postmaster Jones alongside my esteemed co-host, the Doctor, Gary Locker, Big B, Brandon DeMuro, and Just Kendra.
Come on down. You're
what do I
So back to Dirk Coops. He's got a couple more questions he'd like us to answer before we move on to headlines. He's a graduate from Notre Dame on a soccer scholarship.
I love soccer.
He doesn't follow the NFL too much, but he says that that was definitely pass interference at the end of the game and that the Niners would have won, regardless of how they played in the first half of your comments. We're not going to answer this question just yet.
because we're going to go.
Yeah, we're going to cover it. We're not ignoring it. We're just ignoring it for now. So we are.
Like we like to do.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
And now his final question
is a novel. But it's a good question.
May take me till the next segment to read it.
Light your fireplace, grab a cup of cocoa, and sit down and listen.
Why don't you read a couple lines?
I'll just read it.
All right, go ahead.
Go sit and pass it along.
Okay.
To the lady and three gentlemen at Triple Threat Talk.
The lady?
I think he meant two ladies and two gentlemen.
Whoa!
Thanks for that.
I'm seeking your comments, responses regarding the use of social media in professional wrestling. With the onset of mobile technology, many wrestling companies, particularly those in your area, have turned to social media to promote their events. This vehicle is used to assist the various build-ups that occur between the different wrestlers. The majority of the back and forth tweeting is good-natured and fun. On occasion, some individuals are very derogatory. It is tasteless and usually ceases the conversation, and also creates some confusion for their followers and their fans, because at times it's difficult to identify who is the heel and who is the face. However, Twitter, like any other form of social media, can be an open forum. Sometimes a fan will inject themselves into the middle of a Twitter melee between two wrestlers. Their intent is to speak up for their hero or their heroine. I hypothesize that for the fan, it is their virtual involvement in the build-up. This is okay, but how do you handle the fan who takes it too far? I once read a tweet from a fan that was going to kill the opponent of one of their favorite wrestlers. Really? Reality or fantasy? In this case, social media is providing a veil for that tweeter, and the laws which cover these types of statements are vague and difficult to interpret. So my question to Triple Threat Talk, should Twitter be used to promote a wrestling build-up? Social media in all forms has expanded the reach of many independent promotions. Some wrestlers have thousands of followers, but I believe that many indies are slow to grasp the momentum of these virtual fans. Rather, they continue play to the regulars who attend live and house events. More on that comment later. That will be another question for Triple Threat Talk. Wrestling is great. We cheer, clap, and sometimes even weep for our favorite wrestlers, i.e. Big B and Cody Rhodes. Regardless of the character they're portraying.
It's actually in the letter.
Thanks, Derek.
I'm a working professional who travels the world. Every time the iPad comes out to watch a match, whether it be on a plane, a hotel lobby, or a conference, I usually get a group of people standing around watching the event with me. They smile, they cheer, they laugh. Thanks, Triple Threat Talk, for taking the time to read my inquiry. Looking forward to eventually meeting all four of you.
I'm kidding. It wasn't in that letter. It was implied. No. It's a very good question. It's a well thought out statement. I think that Twitter does have a role in this because I have myself participated with Michael Titus over at OVW against Robo De Luna and Terry Bodie, and it's kind of, I was playing the Doctor as the heel, and so was Michael Titus playing himself as the heel, and he came out with, he was the truth advocate, and as opposed to Terry Bodie being the fan advocate.
Not anymore.
Not anymore, but that's where I was going at the time, and we got people in an uproar on Twitter about what was going on, and I started a new hashtag, Michael Titus Truth Advocate, so MTTA was my hashtag, and he adopted that.
It's like the transportation system in Atlanta.
Martyr.
Exactly.
But it was definitely one of those things that you can use Twitter very well. There are those people that take it seriously. Yeah. Those people that don't know what it is. Can you play a clip right here? The guy, it's still real to me.
Oh, everyone's seen that a million times.
We'll play the clip.
I've seen this 1 million times.
Not everyone is like this, but we get it. Even this guy gets it because he says it's still real to me. But that interjection that comes in, sometimes it is hard to take away fantasy, and she'll tell you. Kendra will tell you too that sometimes multiple personalities can come out of this, and I'm sure that's a lot of the cases that, not a lot of them, but some cases that are tried, multiple personalities are an issue.
Yeah.
In some cases. And I think it can be one of those things you have to be able to delineate from fantasy and reality, and you can't get caught up in it. I think it's a great question. Good question, Dirk.
Comments, anybody?
Comments, questions, queries? I can't be the only one who wants to answer
Other
this
than the
question.
fact you said that they're protected when he said, I want to kill the opponent, that's the threat. So he's not protected from saying that. He can be prosecuted. That was just what jumped out to me, but it's...
Yeah, I mean...
You have to be able to delineate it like you said.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously use Twitter a lot more now because they think social media is a big thing for the company, and it is. Mm-hmm. But obviously they're going to go back and forth on Twitter. Like, people are going to be heels and people are going to be facing and say certain things. But sometimes people take it out of context. What was that thing? And this is where it can be used as a negative. I think it was sometime last year, where CM Punk, I think he made a homophobic comment to somebody, and he said something really hurtful. And I think we talked about it, like he could get in real trouble for it. And it's one of those kind of things that, even though you are in a position where you are in the WWE and you have all these accolades and stuff like that, you still need to remember that you're a person. Interact with another person on a social media website, and that you can say things, and obviously it catches on because of who you are. Like if someone, I guarantee people every single day tell people to go use homophobic terms and say hurtful things on Twitter. That's just what the internet is. But if you're someone in a position like CM Punk, you say it's going to catch on because of who he is, and that's the kind of thing that kind of hurts it, is because even though they are wrestlers, they are still people, so they can still say things that are on their mind, even though they have to remember they are a part of a huge company. So that's why social media can hurt in certain ways, because they have to remember where they're at.
And they're public figures too.
Yeah.
So it's like once you become a public figure, like if you become Gary, you become a doctor. If you become a public figure, then you lose certain protections that you didn't have otherwise. So I just feel like they should watch those things, especially with gay, lesbian rights being so big now and people being so sensitive about that. That's unacceptable.
Yeah, and WWE has to watch that.
Yeah, Big B, don't be so sensitive.
Believe me, if I were sensitive to 3 people here, not 4. So, I've had enough bashing for 86 episodes to last anyone a lifetime. 2 lifetimes. Maybe an eternity.
The thing I do not like about social media, Twitter, YouTube, this as a whole.
Well, you don't like YouTube. What are you doing? Are you bashing?
No, let me finish. Is the fact that you can put a name or say your screen name or your Twitter handle is anything, and you can say anything you want.
That's true. You're freedom of speech.
And it's not right, because if you were in person or if you were on a news program on CNN or Fox or MSNBC or you were on ESPN as a sport, you couldn't say whatever you want.
No, well, look what happened to Rob Parker. Rob Parker said what he wanted and he got fired for it.
You could say that on Twitter under an anonymous handle.
But he got fired for it.
And nothing would happen to him.
And it's about time. They almost were going to fire him.
Well, they suspended him, like you said, last year, and they didn't know his conduct, so
like,
they got rid of him.
Just to use an example, just saying, for instance, say you had a guy, his name was, Deadman72532, and, he made some kind of slurred remark about, certain topic. Well, nobody, even if it was way out of context and shouldn't have been said, there's no way to punish that person, or there's no way that you could really track down that person, because anybody could come up with a name or a handle, whether it be, like I said, on Twitter or YouTube. And that is the downfall of social media. I like how WWE is going using, like, the tagging stuff and the Raw Active app. And when somebody comes out, if they have a Twitter handle, they'll say, at John Cena, at JB Layfield. It's good they do that. It's good that they promote social media. Because it gives more of a exposure, more of a, that's just one more, to kind of turn into a marketing standpoint. Like you said, for instance, a big account on my route at work, they say, the more exposure, the better. Well, this is a store that's probably like, 13 aisles, and I have probably 10 locations in the whole store. So it's like, it's not that big of a store, but I got 10 locations. So wherever you turn, there's going to be something Frito looking at you. So it's always, the more marketing and the more advertising you can show somebody is a good thing. So that's part of it I like. The part I don't like is what I talked about a while ago.
Yeah.
So.
Good stuff.
So with that wraps up user questions. A little long this week, but we had some great questions from everybody, including that well thought out hypothesis from Dirk Coops.
I think Buck and 5 is a new rival in user questions.
Which is why this week on Triple Threat Talk, episode 86, our viewer of the week goes to our newest viewer, Mr. Dirk Coops. You are this week's Triple Threat Talk, episode 86.
Viewer of the week. And just to clear it up, bro, he's an old viewer. He's a new question from him.
Right.
He has a good basketball name, Dirk Coops.
Yeah.
What basketball?
Dirk
Coops. For 3.
Dirk Coops playing hoops.
Exactly.
I like it.
Play basketball. What are you doing?
So with that, Big B,
What?
could you spin the record?
No.
You spin me right round.
Go right around when you go down, when you go downtown.
Alright, hit the music.
Doctor, give me the news. I got the bad case of the headline blues. Play that funky music, white boy.
Oh yeah.
Play that funky music
Right there.
Anybody have any Advil something strong?
Headlines. Well, there was a football football game this Sunday.
There was.
Kind of.
Oh, that's right.
There was a half of a football
Puppy
game.
Bowl.
The Puppy Bowl.
Yes.
Yeah. Look at all those puppies.
There was a football game at the Beyonce concert.
Yeah, there was a football game at the Beyonce concert.
And the lights went out.
And the lights went out.
Lights out football.
And
Ray Lewis was not charged.
Come on.
And neither was the light.
The best joke I told you yesterday. The best joke I heard on all day was that. It's like, someone quick, someone turn the lights on. Man, Tattoo can't find his girlfriend.
My dad had a pretty good one too at the end of the game when the Ravens had won. Unfortunately, he said, "Well, that's fitting. Ray Lewis now has as many Super Bowl trophies as he does murders." But I mean, it was a good game. It was a good game. Not at first, of course.
Second half was good.
After the power went out for about 34 minutes.
Yeah.
I thought it was a funny stat. Since the power outage,
They keep the weirdest stats ever.
Since the power outage, like San Francisco, this, and this, and of course, they wound up losing 34-31.
Kept it close.
It was a good game. There was a lot of pushing and shoving. To me, I was telling PostMaster at dinner. I was telling PostMaster that to me, and not just because I'm a Niners fan, but overall. Said that it was a very poorly officiated game, I thought, toward the Ravens more so, in the Ravens' favor. Thank you. For example, number 29, this Williams guy on the Ravens team, he pushed an official not once but twice.
Yeah, that should be a fine.
That's not only a fine, that's ejection. That's ejection. Yeah. And he stayed, and he had a couple of key plays on defense later on that may not have happened had that happen. And then, of course, you had Ed Reed just cold-cocking Joe Staley in the face, and that's ejection, and nothing happened to that.
It was fights every 5 minutes.
It was crazy.
Like, people took their helmets off.
Yeah.
I'm like, seriously.
I didn't expect that from those teams.
I didn't expect that either. And
I'm not surprised coming out of the Ravens.
Well, it's funny. It's not like it's not
really not.
Well, it's not like they're huge rivals or anything.
No, but I'm still not. The Ravens are a team of thugs.
They got murderers. I love Ray Lewis.
I like Ray Lewis.
She's just jumping on the bandwagon over here.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the very end,
I don't blame her.
At the very end, Dirk Coops.
You got the Carpathia and you got the Titanic. Take your pick.
I thought Titanic was a nice ship. It lasted a little while.
Yeah, very little while. Dirk brought up a good point though about the pass interference call, and we will talk about that, and as well as finish up analysis of the game in the Super Bowl. Do a little bit of catching up on the other end of the break on Triple Threat Talk. Stay tuned.
Daddy, can you play Princess Fashion Shows with me?
Sweetheart, I'd love to, but the guys, they're outside waiting for me.
Dr. Vito's.
Steve, what is the holdup?
Is that my wedding dress?
It could be.
And welcome back here on Triple Threat Talk. Postmaster Jones, Jimmy Biggers. The doctor is singing Christmas tunes, which I don't understand.
It's February.
You were singing it with me on the break.
On break, that's different.
See, no one knows that though.
We do a lot of things on break.
We do a lot of things on.
Did we sing a Mentos commercial one time?
I think we serenaded each other.
Big B and just Kendra.
It was great.
So moving back to headlines.
So there was a pass interference call in the end zone, which is what Dirk is talking about in his inquiry that we were not ignoring but putting off till now. Michael Crabtree was blatantly pushed down in the end zone, and they didn't call it. It would have been half the distance to the goal on a fresh set of downs. It happened on the 4th down play. So they'd have gotten 4 more attempts, and you have to think they would have scored.
Yeah.
Well, after 8 attempts, and it's almost impossible for a team to have 8 attempts and not score at that point.
They were on fire at that point, too. So it was like if they had more time or had another opportunity, they would have scored.
They would have definitely scored, and they for sure cost the 49ers the game. That was the big play, I think, ever that enraged a lot of people, especially if you're a member of Niners Nation, such as myself. But it was a good game, though. I was just happy not to see it be a blowout because it was heading that way. Yeah. And then the lights blew out, and kind of leaking into our next headline, but I still want to talk about the game still. The expert, there's an outside organization looking into the power outage, make sure there's no foul play. Of course, most 49ers fans like to chalk it up to the ghost of Bill Walsh. Still active and helping the Niners. But yeah, what are your all thoughts on the games? What'd you like? What didn't you like? What stuck out to you guys?
Well, I don't know. It was just the first half. It was like you said, headed towards the blowout. Then after the power outage, it was like the football gods came down, and it just turned around. And then I don't know. I was on edge after halftime. I was on edge every second. Like it was just ridiculous. I was glad that it was not a blowout. Jacoby Jones.
He should have been MVP.
You know what I mean? Like he played football in the he ran track in the SIAC, which I went to Kentucky State University for undergrad, and he went to, I want to say, Lane College. So he didn't even, you know what I mean? So he was just a small fish, and then look at him now, and he impressed me. 109 yards. Like
I bet the Texans are kicking themselves.
Yeah. He was no slouch on Houston either, so they could have used him.
It was outstanding. But the way it turned around, I knew it was going to happen. And you saw John on the sidelines. He was being very snappy with the light people. He was like, you saw him drop the F-bomb, I think. I think I did. He was upset. But
he was really mad.
He had every reason to be upset because I'm telling you, that power outage was the key to the 49ers
I think
getting their gas.
Absolutely. I'll say this much. It wouldn't be a Super Bowl without something controversial happening. That's just what it is, and that's what happens. Power outage going out. And it's one of those things. It's you can look at it this way: the 49ers were asleep at the wheel before the power outage. They were completely irrelevant of what they've done all year, running the football, using spread option with Kaepernick. They couldn't do anything offensively against the Ravens. And then pretty much the lights go out for the stadium, and the lights come on for the 49ers because they woke up after the power outage after 34 minutes, and they came out firing like they've done all year. They've done what they're supposed to do. Kaepernick was throwing the football very well. He threw one bad pass, was the overthrow to Ed Reed.
First interception in 49ers history in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I thought they were running Gore a little bit more. They didn't do as much as I thought. Like we've said before, if they run Gore more, they're going to win the game. They didn't run him a lot.
He had 110 yards though.
Yeah, that's one thing I love about him. He will run that doggone football once he gets out of the. I mean, he
smash mouth power runner.
Like he will go.
Yeah, we were worried about him during that Seattle game because they run him so much he was exhausted. I agree with her. It's good that they end up this way because you don't like to watch a blowout, especially for him because he doesn't want to see his team get completely destroyed in the Super Bowl. That's just no fun for anybody. How do you think people felt like the Patriots got beat down by the Bears? And how people feel about that? It's one of those things that you don't want to see a blowout in the Super Bowl because one person's team.
You mean the Colts?
No.
Beat the Bears.
No, I'm talking about the Super Bowl when the 85 Bears, they beat the Bears 40-10 or something like that. I mean, who wants to watch that? Right. I mean, if you're a Bears fan, obviously you're having, it's like second Christmas for you. But if you're a fan of the other team getting shellacked, it's not really fun for you. And the game is supposed to be for everybody, not just people that like football. But it's a whole entertainment thing people like to watch, not just football fans, but everybody likes to watch the game. And to watch a non-competitive game, it's just no fun. So I'm glad it turned around for that reason. Good job by the Niners. They really took it. It was a gutsy move by Harbaugh to put in Colin Kaepernick at quarterback. It paid off in the long run because he's a more dynamic player than Alex Smith, and now he's going to test the free agency waters. He doesn't. I don't know where he's going to go. People say Kansas City because Andy Reid likes Alex Smith. Some people are saying Cleveland because North Turner is there. That might be a good fit for him.
I still think Arizona.
Going to the Arizona.
I'm hearing rumblings that they may go to Philadelphia. Because Chip Kelly wants him.
Well, they got nothing with Vic there and Nick Foles.
They said if
Vic's not coming back.
They said if Vic won't lower his contract, which is looking like he won't, because
he's not worth that much.
He thinks he deserves that much, and he's not.
He needs to go somewhere someone's going to use him.
He needs to go someplace where there's no dogs.
Exactly.
So no Cleveland. But as far as the power outage goes, I watched football for a long, long time. It is one of the weirdest things I've ever seen before because, it's just odd. Like, Super Bowl is just supposed to go smooth sailing, 2 teams play, just do your job you've done all year, and this odd thing happens, and not only does it hurt the NFL, but it hurts the city of New Orleans because they've been to New Orleans more than a handful of times. They've been there, I think, 10 or 11 times for Super Bowls. I think it's the most all time. And now they probably look at this like, it's not technically your fault, but this looks bad on us, so we might not come back for a while.
Right.
And they said that wouldn't hinder their decision on whether they would return or not, because New Orleans is slated to bid on the 2018 or 17 Super Bowl.
Okay.
So they said it wouldn't hinder the decision. But another thing to hinder on is it's looking more and more like next year the WrestleMania will be in.
Yeah, that's another concern, I would think.
And so it's like, and that requires a lot more lighting.
Well, you got to remember,
to do of like turning on the lights, turning off the lights.
But didn't WrestleMania 24 the power go out when Taker's entrance hit and they went through it fine? I think 24 the power. Well,
maybe I'm not.
And that was outside,
right?
So
yeah. So it was a great game. Joe Flacco played outstanding as he did the entire postseason. 11 touchdowns and 0 interceptions to finish the postseason. Back up the Brinks Cup to Joe Flacco. I think he's going to get his money. Like I told you on Facebook that night, I said Flacco was sitting there like the primetime players, millions of dollars. I think Ozzie Newsome, the owner of the Ravens, he said he wants to pay Joe. He wants Joe to be there long term, but he's not afraid to franchise tag him. So that kind of makes me, wonder a little bit because, he was one of the biggest reasons why you were there. And, not to throw a single interception all postseason is something that is, only a few guys can say they've done. Joe Montana, Troy Aikman, and a couple others. So I thought Joe Flacco played great. I thought, other than that early hiccup by Kaepernick, I thought he played outstanding. I thought the play calling for the 49ers were a little questionable. At the end. I think they should have ran Frank Gore when they had it 1st and goal.
Yeah, I know you would do that.
And instead of running 4 pass plays, I didn't really get that.
It's not their style. I don't know why they did that.
And when you're that close to the goal, you don't need to run a pass play, especially 4 of them.
Yeah.
Right. So I thought that was bad. But it's like you said, it wasn't just that one series that lost them the game.
No.
I mean, it took a ton out of them to come back like they did. I mean, it was great that they came back, but that took a ton out of them. I mean, it takes a lot to climb a mountain like that and to overcome it at that. So it was good. It was a good end of the season. Now the long doldrum of off season begins. We all love the NFL here, but it just goes by so fast. It's here and gone, and then boom, it's out of here.
But it goes so fast.
The Jaguars, though, want to give us a something to chew on for the off season. Big B, if you would.
I saw this too,
There's the new Jaguars logo. I'm not impressed because it's the Jaguars.
Thanks. The Jaguars,
you're making fun of one of his 31 favorite teams.
I know, right?
Anyway, if I can get a word in edgewise.
No.
I didn't like the logo initially, but just because I've been so used to logo for 17 years, I've been on it since 1996. So that logo's been there since 96, so you kind of get used to something after you see it for a while. And the new one kind of looked, it kind of felt like cartoony to me. It kind of looked something out of the Jungle Book. I was like, what are they doing? I didn't know what that was supposed to be. Again, it's probably going to take me some time to get used to it because it's new. It doesn't look as bad as I think he's saying. I think it's going to take some time to get used to the new logo. I mean, they want a new direction for the team. They got a new coach. They're trying to get a new quarterback. So they want to make the team look different. So.
Speaking of getting used to things, how's Cody Rhodes' mustache growing on you?
Anyway, moving on. Since he wants to talk about Kitty things, I'll take over.
For a guy named Meta World Peace, he sure doesn't act like he wants world peace. Can we show this clip?
If I can find it.
Okay, we're going to try to find a clip here. Meta World Peace punching UK's former standout star Brandon Knight, grabbing him around the throat and punching him in the jaw. Of course, this is he got ejected. It's a flagrant foul, and frankly, I think Ron Artest needs to be thrown out of the league.
Me too.
He needs to be.
Ron Artest.
We need to throw. He needs to be thrown out of the league. This is not. This is assault.
He is unstable.
This is not.
He is unstable.
This is not a foul. I'm sorry. If I do this and then punch you in the jaw, it's assault.
Brandon Knight is a child almost still. He's a young man, and Ron Artest, Meta World Peace, whatever. Like, I don't know who he is. Like, he has so many different personalities. Ever since the big brawl, like in Detroit, he is out of line. He was a key contender in that fight. Like, he is nuts. He has done some of the craziest things, and they only gave him a game. They should know.
See, that's why I care. A game. That is an outrage.
That is ridiculous. He is a savage beast.
Yeah.
Like,
Definitely.
And like I said, like she said, that the altercation in Detroit, probably one of the worst things I've ever seen in a basketball game. That he just jumps in the stands, and it's not like his first offense when he did to Brandon Knight. So it's like, why isn't David Stern and the suits in the NBA really taking care of this issue? I don't know.
They can't take care of their own product right now.
Well,
that's the problem.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But they need to address that issue.
One and done needs to be gone.
Yeah.
There needs to be harsher suspensions and for stuff like this, because what the fans saw, what the Lakers fans saw that night was nothing more than assault. It was an attack that you should not have. It shouldn't have happened.
Right. How long? I know he's leaving soon. How much longer does Stern have left in his contract?
This month. At the end
of the season?
Middle of this month. No. He steps down in February, and his predecessor is going to start the day he drops down. So
maybe that guy will address something.
A couple other NBA tidbits of note. They did announce that probably within the next year or two they are going to start PED testing. They don't really have a problem with it in the NBA. You don't really ever hear about any NBA players using PEDs or
kind of suspect
steroids. You think it's possible, but they are going to get out in front of that, which is great to hear. Yeah. How about on a positive note, to kind of get away from this negativity with the NBA, how about the job that Earl Clark is doing for the Lakers this season?
He's doing pretty good.
I mean, he's...
Of course, former U of L standout Earl Clark going to the Lakers. He's really done him well. And actually, I think that he's kind of covering up for Meta World Peace a little bit. I think he's taken away some of those minutes that Ron Artest would usually get and really turning them into something positive.
Well, I think it helps that he has to practice with Pau Gasol every day. Yeah. And it's like...
He's hurt now.
And now that Pau Gasol is hurt, he's getting the minutes. And Steve Nash has come out and publicly just praised, Earl Clark and talked about how great of an asset he is. And I just think it's great because when he first went out of college, went to the pros, you didn't hear from him. And he's been out of college for several years. And now he's getting his opportunity. He's making the best of it. And I think it's outstanding. I always like it when a U of L alum shines in the NBA, and especially.
So you wait a long time.
Yeah, exactly. we don't have a lot of NBA shining moments. No. And one other quick NBA nugget: the Boston Celtics are actually undefeated without Rajon Rondo.
That's interesting.
So
it's very, very interesting because Rajon Rondo is one of the best players on that team.
Absolutely.
And
so one of the best point guards in the league.
Yeah, for sure.
So, when we get back from break...
One quick note before we do go back to break, just to want to mention this because it's worth it. Lindsey Vonn, in a horrific skiing accident in Austria, tears her ACL, MCL, and fractures her tibia. She's lucky to be alive, but definitely a huge thing. Now's your cue.
Hey, when we come back from break, we'll wrap up headlines and we'll get into wrestling right after this.
We're out of milk.
Are you kidding me? Mister!
What?
Up there!
I'm sorry, honey. Gotta go.
Lean on me when times are bad. And when your day comes, let you down. In the river of trouble, about to drown. Just hold on. Cause I'm coming. Hold on.
Milk.
Cause I'm coming.
Gotta go to work. Last week, a team of highly coordinated drivers took down a military convoy. I need your help, Dom.
You got the best crew in the world standing right in front of you.
We need full pardons all the way around.
Take it or leave it.
Breathe with me.
We talking vehicular warfare.
This is not what we do. Guys, they got a tank.
Damn.
I can reach out and break you whenever I want.
That's dangerous talk.
We've graduated to a whole new level.
You believe in ghosts?
And we're back here on Triple Threat Talk. I am Big B Brandon Miro. To my right is just Kendra, and to my left are those two other guys named the Doctor and Postmaster Jones, or whatever they call themselves.
So, Postmaster actually alerted me to something I didn't know, which is rare. Anyway.
Wow.
Apparently there's a clip of Lindsey Vohn's accident. So, Big B, if you would.
Yowzer.
Either way it hurt. I think you were able to find the clip.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I don't think people really take enough notice about how dangerous those sports are, like skiing and snowboarding, because you're up against the elements, and
Look at Sonny.
Sonny, of course, of Sonny and Cher passing away in Utah, I think it was, of a tragic ski accident. I mean, it's dangerous.
You have no control, honestly. I think. I don't know.
It is very dangerous.
Especially since, if you're skiing on snow, snow is very slippery, so if you slip, you're going to keep rolling, so it's not good.
Big B, tell us about Rafael Nadal being a winner again after 7 months.
Well, first clay court tournament back, Vina Del Mar down in Chile is where he's made his return. I saw his match last night. He played some guy I've never even heard of. I think he's probably played the Futures of the Challengers, probably circuit. That's probably where he comes from. I wasn't impressed. I think it's going to take Nadal a little bit of time to get back. He looked a little slow. I mean, that's going to be what it is because of his knees. He wasn't moving very well. He's obviously he's the number one seed because of his ranking points, but he might run into some trouble in there. Chardonnay's in there, the man from France. He made the quarterfinals of Australia, so he's playing pretty well. It's gonna be a tough road for him back. And I think like what me and Alex talked about last week about his chances at the French Open, he's not the favorite anymore. I don't think. I mean, some people might have him as the favorite because of who he is, but I think Djokovic is playing much better tennis at this time than Nadal is. That's just what it is. Because obviously, there's no joke that Nadal is a fantastic tennis player, one of the best of all time. That's a given. But as the injury he had, it's going to take him some time to get back to the form, especially since clay is so strange on your body because you're sliding around all the time, and it puts a lot of pressure on your knees. That's what the injury he had was. What he had. So it's going to take him some time to get back. It's good to see him back. If you have the Tennis Channel, check it out this weekend. He's playing in the semifinals. Obviously, he should get there. So see how he looks. Obviously, he's going to be a little slow, like I said, but it's going to take some time. He's not going to win the French Open. I'd be surprised if he win the French Open, to be honest. I'd be very surprised. So, glad to have him back, but it's going to be a long road for him to get back to the top. So,
quick golf note.
Yeah.
Phil Mickelson absolutely crushes the field in the Waste Management Open in Tempe, Arizona. One thing I wonder, and you see these scores where he was over 20 under for the tour tournament. As a golf watcher, maybe as a semi golf watcher, or do you like it when you see the pros and there's like a laundry list of guys, say 10 or 15 deep in the field, and they're all just crushing and they all 15 under, 20 under, 20? Or do you like it when everybody's like even or over one or barely under par? I mean, because they're professionals.
Right.
Wouldn't you think it would be more exciting to see those guys out there struggling than to make it look like this is just a drop in the hat.
You know, you can kind of compare it to, I know we talked about before and we kind of joked about it, but you can kind of compare it to bowling. Because when you watch bowling, you expect them to get, close to 300 every time. Because that's what they do. They get like the 290s every time.
But the lanes are skewed.
Right, but there was one guy last year, I think he got like a 160 something. That's like outrageous for a professional bowler. That's something like I would get or something. I'm not a professional bowler by any means. So say what you said about golf, when I see those E's and stuff like that, it kind of looks like an ugly stat to me. Like I've seen people win majors with like E at even. It doesn't look right to me.
But I'm talking about from the standpoint of the course. When the course is that hard.
Oh yeah,
to me, when you're a professional at something, okay, it should be a little bit easier for you because you're doing it all the time. And I think with golf, some of these courses change and some of them don't. And I think when you play them enough, you get the feel for it. And heck, they play these courses back to back to back over the course of 4 days at the same course. Right. So you're gonna pick up on a couple of tricks.
The only thing that changes is the whole location.
Yeah, the whole location, and that is it. And when they do this, I think that you do see the higher scores, and I like seeing the higher scores because I like when they do a birdie or when you see an eagle or the rare albatross that you see.
I like that too. I just sometimes though when you're watching you're like, good God, 29 under.
Well, I mean, did you like it when Tiger just like went out there and crushed the field? Or?
That was happening.
Yeah, I do. I like when I see that. It makes me feel a certain type of way when they go out there and they do poorly because I'm like, oh my God, like. First of all, golf to me is so foreign, like the way they just know to hit it and then it rolls right beside the hole and you're all the way on the other side of the course. So when they do have a bad game, I'm like, well, maybe the wind is blowing too much or I don't know how to explain it, but I don't like when they do bad or when they, they don't score as high as they normally would. But I don't know. Yeah. I've never seen Tiger do too bad, but I mean, he's had
I've seen him be pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean,
when he withdraws, he does bad.
Basically.
But so Old Dominion fires their head coach in basketball, this Taylor guy, after a miserable 2-20 start. So
that's not that bad.
Yeah, right. Florida loses to Mississippi. I have in the notes Michigan, but it's Mississippi.
No one has to know that.
80-69, which will knock Florida out of the number 2 spot. Number 1 has been replaced now 6 times this year. 6.
It's
wait.
6.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Florida lose to Arkansas?
Arkansas, thank you. I said Mississippi, didn't I?
Yes.
It's Arkansas. But speaking of number 1.
I was going to say, she said it all the time, and I agree with her 100%. Rankings mean nothing because they just keep dropping.
They don't. And IU back on top.
Now they're dominating though.
After a impressive win at Michigan.
I really like Cody Zeller. He is fantastic.
I like them all on that team.
I think he's going to go to the Wizards if they're still.
I think the big story this week, a couple weeks ago, it was Louisville losing 3 straight. But I think the big story right now is Kansas losing 2 straight. They lost at home. And now they've lost at TCU. They lost to Oklahoma State at home, and now they lost on the road to TCU. I think Bill Self might have a crisis situation on his hand. Rick Pitino's been able to handle this and come out swinging, but I'm not so sure Bill Self, head coach at Kansas, can right this ship because they've got in their head now. They were TCU's first win.
Yeah, TCU hasn't had one all year.
And that when you're batting 1,000. And all of a sudden, you lose to TCU.
Right. Yeah, and
that'll hurt.
And the thing that Bill Self said, I cringed when I read it. He said, "This is the worst Kansas team I've ever seen since Dr. Naismith was here," and that's just a rough thing to say. If you don't know, Dr. Naismith was the guy who invented basketball, so that's just a rough thing to say from your coach. If your coach is saying that about your team, that's just rough. And to lose to a team that had no wins whatsoever, that just looks bad on their part. Yeah. That's just, I mean, I didn't see the game, but I mean, it just seems like, from what I'm reading, that they lost a team with no wins. It seems like they weren't doing what they normally do. And I know Bill Self is a good coach; he's one of the best. But for them to lose to TCU, it's just.
One thing that plagued me in college basketball this week was the Ohio State and Michigan game because I think the officiating was very piss poor, excuse my language, but
they don't care.
At the end, I just feel like I like when refs allow the games to get physical because that's what basketball is about. It's a contact sport. Sometimes you just gotta let stuff fly. But I mean, it was a lot of jawing going on, physicalness, and I hated it. I hated it because I just felt like it was dispositive in how the game turned out. Because I mean, people were elbowing and getting hit in the face and heads pushed back, and the refs didn't call it. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, how come you didn't call that foul? That's 3 shots, and it's a 2-point game. I've seen that a lot this year. Like, they are allowing the guys to be very physical, which is not a bad thing all the time. But when it comes down to do or die, 5 seconds left, a 2-point difference, you know, the difference between whether I drive in or take the 3 ball, you know what I mean? Like, that's a difference. And I just feel like they could have been a little more on point at that game, because that was a close game between Ohio State and Michigan. And that, you know, they're competing teams. They're up there.
And that kind of brings me to something that I didn't put in the headlines, but I did want to mention. I don't think there's any question this year that the Big Ten is the conference to beat in basketball. They've got Michigan, Ohio State, IU. I mean, the list goes on. Yeah. The Big East does have 6 teams in the top 25, but none of those teams are in the top 10 currently. And I think when you look at the prospect of the Big Ten, the landscape in the Big Ten, you have Iowa doing well overall. You have Minnesota ranked in there. And like I said, IU number 1 in the land. Michigan was number 2 in the land for a while, number 1 even for a little bit too. Ohio State's phenomenal. You've got all these great teams. I mean, and they are letting them play. And it's one of those things, like, you have to watch out because you're setting a standard that's going to follow you into the NCAA tournament. The Big East is known for being rough. Absolutely. Okay, the Big East is. Places like the SEC and the Big Ten, they're not. And it's no fault of theirs. It's just, like I was telling PostMaster earlier in the season, it's what the Big East wants to be known by. They want to be known for taking it to the limit. And when it was the country's most exciting conference, which it isn't anymore, but when it was, that was one thing that people tuned in to watch, and because the refs would let something go every now and then.
It was, I think it was against Marquette on Sunday. Yeah, Jay Billis was calling the game with, I forget who it was. It was somebody that normally doesn't call the games, and there was a play or two in there, and the guy was like, "Oh my God, that should have been a foul." And Jay Billis was quick to tell him, "Dude, it's the Big East." It's like they're not going to call that. It's the Big East.
This year, though, and I'm glad you brought that up because I really did want to talk about this at some point. This year, they're setting a dangerous precedent in the officiating because when this gets to the NCAA tournament, a lot of these mid-major teams that are going to come in, like Butlers and VCUs and whoever gets in from the Ivy League, which I have a strong feeling is going to be Harvard or Cornell this year.
Go Harvard.
But when you do that, it sets a standard because these other conferences, they don't play that rough.
Right.
And
and
there's and that's not a bad thing because I don't think that you should be pushing and shoving in basketball. It is a contact sport. You want to stand your ground and you want to keep your ground and you want to make sure that people know that this spot is mine on the court. This is my spot. But at the same time, every other conference in the league does not abide by that.
And you want the officiating to be the common denominator for both teams. Like, I don't want to have to come in. I want to know that the refs are officiating the games, and this might be a stronger team, a better skilled team, but I know that when it comes to the refs, they're going to call the game like it's supposed to be called. If you're bigger and stronger and you foul me, it's a foul. Even though I'm weak, if you foul me, you foul me. But if you just overpower me because I'm weak, then by all means don't call the foul. The referees should be the common denominator. It shouldn't be like, oh, well, this is a Big East team and this is a, whatever Pac-12 team, so now I'm gonna, you know what I mean, gotta rule in their favor because they're big and strong and they're known for being physical. Like, no, they should be impartial, as I like to say. So,
and a lot of these things, like you see, like Nerlens Noel, the leading shot blocker in the NCAA right now. You know, like, he doesn't commit a whole lot of fouls when he goes up for the block, but someone like Victor Oladipo, who is leading the Big Ten in blocks right now on IU squad, when he jumps up and blocks a ball, he does get the hand a lot, and they don't call it a lot. They chalk it up as a block.
Right.
And there's just certain stats and certain things in certain conferences that count, and that things are called differently in other conferences. And when you have everybody congealing at the end of the big tournament, the big dance, the standards are set. And you have to follow those standards.
Absolutely.
And sometimes they are very, very dangerous standards.
Absolutely. So, good stuff there from the basketball standpoint. Next week, tune in. It will be part 1 of our yearly NASCAR preview. So look to maybe have a special guest on the show next week.
Maybe?
Could be, or the week after, depending. We'll see. But
schedule.
We'll do a little bit of NASCAR talk next week, and we'll do another to wrap up the preview the following week. So we're gonna take a quick break here, and when we come back, we'll talk about wrestling, and we'll wrap up the show right after this.
I've been waiting for the dryer for like forever. That's it. I'm just gonna unload their clothes. I don't care if they get wrinkled.
What are you doing?
And now I look like a huge perv.
Sweating on the inside? Handle it on the outside with Speed Stick Power.
I was just gonna fold your clothes for you so they wouldn't get wrinkled.
That's so sweet of you.
I'd fold your panties any day.
What?
What?
Speed Stick. Don't sweat it. Handle it. Tweet your handle it moment now.
Took my love, took it down. I climbed a mountain and I turned around. Well, I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I've built my life around you. But time makes you bolder, even children get older. Getting older too. Take my love, take it down. And if you see my reflection in the snow-covered hills, well, a landslide will bring it down.
And we're back here on Triple Threat Talk. Postmaster Jones, Jimmy Biggers, along with just Kendra, Big B, Brandon DeMiro, and my esteemed co-host, Gary the Doctor, Tyrannosaurus Rex Lockard.
Godzilla. Top Dino. Big B actually brought this up during the break for the second year in a row. We said it last week, but it is official now after the Super Bowl. This guy is mine, coming home with me now for the second year in a row. I'd like to thank the Academy. I'd like to thank everybody who lost.
One stinking game.
It's alright.
One.
This guy right here gives me a run for my money. I'm looking forward to next season to see what she can do. And of course, you know, this other guy right here. He's just lucky we let him play.
So, OVW coverage this week. Frank Miller,
by the way.
Frank Miller steps down at OVW.
Sad day.
He retires from wrestling
20 years.
and steps down as director of ops at Ohio Valley Wrestling. So Frank Miller, congratulations. 20-year career.
Let us in.
He let Triple Threat Talk's foot in the door. He let us come in and talk to the superstars and
talk to him too.
And ultimately led to us making our managerial debuts. So we want to thank Frank Miller for everything he has done since coming to Triple Threat Talk, and we wish you best of luck on all your future endeavors, whatever it may be. We hope you enjoy your new nice red motorcycle. I've seen that you have.
He deserves it.
He does.
Every guy deserves a toy. Am I right?
Definitely every guy deserves a toy.
Everybody really deserves a toy, but every guy definitely deserves it.
And on another note, just like that, our good pal Terry Bodie, the fan advocate, is taking a indefinite leave of absence from Ohio Valley Wrestling.
He should be back, though.
He is going back. He's just taking a leave of absence to handle some personal life things. He's becoming no longer a bachelor. He's going to be a married man. So congratulations to Terry Bodie also. And of course, let's not forget our esteemed editor-in-chief, Ms. Cheryl Conley. So we want to thank everybody at OVW. And of course, if you have anything, you have any query, you can check out ovw.blogspotmania.com with Brian Cannon. He can keep you up to date, wall-to-wall coverage of OVW. If you can't get it there, you can go to www.ovwrestling.com. Or if you're here in the local area, you can check them out on channel 138 on Saturdays at 1 and 9 o'clock on channel WKYI. So,
dang, you can memorize.
I've said enough times.
Get some sleep at night, son.
He's been studying. He has read it written down. He reads it every night before he goes to bed.
That's right, every night.
Do we have any WWE coverage?
Yes, we do. We got some WWE coverage. So this past week was a little odd.
No Ziggler.
We didn't have any.
No, sorry, no Rock.
There was Jericho.
No Ziggler.
Yeah, we had no Dolph Ziggler and no Rock.
No WWE champion on Raw.
I'm not surprised though.
It's funny though because they announced that
paper champion.
He's going to be an integral part of Raw, but this is the one Raw he's going to miss. So it's like whatever.
So we're going to Raw a little bit. Just a few things happen of major note. Big Show gets cold clocked with a fire extinguisher.
Cold clock?
Yeah, cold clock.
Yeah, that was hilarious because they've done that a million times.
Yes.
The hotel segment.
Like we didn't know Alberto was going to show up at the hotel. And like he probably really was at a hotel.
Yeah, right.
You know, but it is what it is. So apparently the Shield now officially has a first real match at Elimination Chamber. It is announced that the Shield, Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins will take on the team of Ryback, Sheamus, much to your chagrin, and John Cena. So it kind of makes me wonder, what are they going to do with Dolph Ziggler this? Well, that's right, he's fighting Jericho.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because he wasn't there.
They're really dropping the ball with his Money in the Bank. They need to do something with it. It's not. They. I don't know when they're going to have him cash it in. I don't know what they're doing.
I think he cashes in an Elimination Chamber.
He could.
We said that like one last 5 pay-per-views.
I mean,
see, if you stay in his time, though, you're going to be right.
I think Royal Rumble would have been the time to do it, and I thought for sure they were going to do it then. They didn't do it, but I think once they get the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view out of the way, because these last couple weeks have kind of been a hiccup.
Hit and miss. Yeah.
It's been hit and miss. I mean, leading up to Royal Rumble was great. But I think that once they get past, I mean, the pay-per-view itself might be good. I don't know.
Chamber's usually so
Chamber's okay, just because of the monstrosity of what is the Elimination Chamber.
So, but it will be a first time ever tag team Chamber match.
Yeah,
so good stuff there. So
no, it won't be Chamber. I think they said they won't do that.
I heard it was going to be.
They said they don't want to do Chamber because they want to eliminate their 5 top guys.
Okay, gotcha. So look, that's it really for Raw.
I was going to say one more thing. Vince McMahon's been around a long, long time. He's done a lot of good for this business, but I have to commend Triple H on the utmost respect because he went out there and he literally traveled to Bruno Sammartino and laid out the deal for him and said, what can we do to get you into the Hall of Fame, because everyone knows Bruno Sammartino. It's a name synonymous with wrestling, champion for.
He should have been the first inductee.
He was champion for like 9 years, whatever in a row, however long it was. And Triple H really went to bat and said, you know what, I'm not leaving until I hit a home run, and he did. He got him to be in the Hall of Fame. He told him, we'll do what you want. We'll give you this deal. We're going to get you in the Hall of Fame. We're going to take care of you, and they're taking care of him. They're giving him a DVD, and they're giving all this stuff to cater to him, and he's agreeing to that. Now they still haven't. The one thing he was concerned about, which they're going to have to hit eventually, is he's not a huge fan of Vince McMahon. He never was. He was more a fan of his father than Vince McMahon.
He doesn't like him at all. They do not get along.
Yeah, he likes Vince McMahon Sr., not Jr.
Yeah.
So they're eventually going to have to come to pass sometime, and
I would
they're going to
think
have to.
so.
Obviously, that's going to be a rough interaction.
Right.
That's going to happen. So I mean, kudos to Triple H for doing an outstanding job getting somebody that WWE's needed in the Hall of Fame for quite some time.
Right. You can be like, hey, what's going on? That's really all you got to say to the guy.
I mean, so.
And Triple Threat Talk will be wall to wall with live wrestling coverage this week.
Half of the show.
2/3. On Sunday,
two-thirds. Try half.
I said half.
Yeah,
I said half.
Yes, you're right. You're right.
Fail.
We have Kendra. She is just Kendra, but she is Kendra.
He's delusional.
I
count as a person.
Yes.
How dare you?
I was actually counting him out and counting me instead. So see.
That's right. He doesn't go to house shows.
That's right. So that's why I don't even bother counting him.
I get you.
See, so. On Sunday, Big B, myself, the head of Triple Threat Talk Security,
Wild Card,
the fella, the wild card, Michael Rickard, the missus,
And two of the Mrs. relatives are all heading down for the WWE house show
Yum Center.
here at Louisville at the Yum Center, 5 o'clock. Should be good stuff there. And then the next night, myself and the head of securities, Chris Flawbush, and I, along with a couple others, are heading down to Nashville, Las Vegas, to see Monday Night Raw live. So I get to see The Rock and Chris Jericho live in person.
The one thing we were happy about,
which I saw on WrestleMania this afternoon.
Yeah, the one thing we were happy about, because when they first did the show, it was going to be SmackDown Live, and now they've changed it, so it's just live. It's WWE Live, so you know who's going to show up.
Exactly.
So we'll see what happens.
Exactly. Should be good. Should be good. So that wraps up wrestling coverage this week, guys. You have a wild card.
I know you had one.
Yeah, I had one. What was his name?
It was your wild card.
I know the player who played for the 49ers.
Delaney Walker.
Delaney Walker. Yeah, his uncle came to see him play at the Super Bowl, and when they were on the way back, they got hit by a drunk driver. The young lady, she was drunk. She smashed into him. The car caught on fire, and of course, they were pronounced dead as soon as they arrived. And of course, she lived like every drunk driver does.
Exactly.
But now she's being charged with 2 counts of vehicular homicide vehicular manslaughter. I apologize. And I just think that we need to take into account that just never drink and drive. It's never worth it. No. I mean, 2 people, they lost their lives. They were coming to support their, nephew. And how do you think that's affecting him? And it's just, whenever you decide to take some keys and drive drunk, it affects everybody. And, I don't even know him. I don't know his people, but it sent chills through my body, and it made me really sad that, it's just not worth it. And whoever she is, she has to live with it for the rest of her life. She'll be in jail for a very long time. But, just always think, and just don't drive drunk. Call a cab, whatever. Call me. I'll pay for a cab chauffeur. I will give my card number over the phone to the cab driver so that you can get home. It's just so not worth it.
It's like like the thing with the Dallas Cowboy player that did that.
Yeah.
So.
Exactly. B&B?
Anybody have a wild card besides me?
I'm Daisy Fresh.
Well, my wild card is not going to be a real lengthy one. It's just going over something. Obviously, during the show, you've seen some commercials from Super Bowl. So we'll go around here. What was your favorite commercial from Super Bowl?
I didn't really have one. I just went on cue earlier. It's kind of plain, but I like the old school, the Paul Harvey.
A lot of people like that one.
I think it was really cool. I was the only one in my household that liked it.
Really? I like that one too.
But it was. I thought it was very cool, and I thought it was very cool.
I like the Dodge commercial, but I'm partial to the Doritos commercials, obviously.
You don't say.
Really?
Hey, they pay my paycheck, so I gotta. Gotta promote them any way I can.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What's your favorite?
The Doritos dress up, and when the wife was like, "Is that my wedding dress?"
It could be. My favorite was the speed stick one, the laundromat. I thought that was really funny.
Because you've done that before, haven't you?
Never even been to a laundromat. So, I like that one too. The Eminem one wasn't as funny because I think last year was a real knockout with the sexy. I think that was really funny. This year it didn't really deliver this year. That Eminem one for me. The side one kind of.
I would do anything for
that one.
But I won't do that.
Yeah.
Or that.
The side one, the side one I liked, but it didn't seem as funny. The Ghana
pistachios.
Yeah, it didn't seem like it was going to be a lot. It wasn't as funny as I expected it to be. It was good, but it was
because it's old.
I think that song is getting kind of played a little bit. I think it's kind of
overplayed.
What song?
It's Gangnam Style. Oh, okay. Well, it's all right. I think it's all about thrift shop now, right?
You know what? We should create a new dance. Whoop. Whoa, 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 whoa. It's the Doctor Style.
I think it's all about the thrift shop there, right? That's all about the thrift shop.
I knew you couldn't go a show without mentioning that song.
You're obsessed.
I was mentioning it because
it's not like it's played every hour on the hour.
No, but it is.
Clockwork.
Sheesh.
All right.
We have an idiot of the week.
Running out a little on time.
Big B's idiot of the week. And that does it for the show. If you want to like us on Facebook, you can like us on Facebook at Facebook.com/triplethreattalk. You can follow us on Twitter at triplethreattalk.com. And
triplethreattalk.com. Good one. You can follow us on Twitter at triplethreattalk.
You can send us any question or comment you want at triplethreattalk.com. So for
triplethreattalk@yahoo.com. Good Lord.
much, Colt New. Thank you to Terry Bodie, Cheryl Colley for everything they do. This is the Dr. Gary Locker.
This is Big D, and thanks. Take it easy.
And this is just Kendra. You guys have a nice night. Thank you for watching.
Amateur Hour.